Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at Stop Struggling Now, the Christmas Wealthy Wednesday Night Eve edition, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Christmas is every week. Why do I say that? Because you should be making plans every week so that there's Christmas. And what do you need to create Christmas? Money. That's right. So your choices to build wealth, they do matter. And always learning how, mandatory. And welcome. Stop struggling now gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's right. It's Christmas every week. Ho, ho, ho. And you guys, welcome again to the SSN Nation Christmas Eve Wealthy Wednesday Night Edition. We're into this 2026. You have no choice. Prices are going to rise all across the board. It does not matter. It's going to affect your life, and you're going to have to make more money. Mandatory as well. So, once again, thank you so much for being here this Christmas Eve because you could be anywhere else. And if you watch this on replay, I have to make a PSA, a public service announcement. Live stream chat. If you want to see the chat box or need the links from the chat box, then if you're on mobile, make sure you hit comment and swipe left. So it'll give you a choice to get the live chat up while the video is running, and therefore you can get the links. And what do I mean by the links? This is what the Christmas gifting is all about. First things first, there is now a link at stopstrugglingnow.com. I'm going to leave it here, but you can go to stopstrugglingnow.com and get the Candlestick Bible. That's right. We're going to start off with what you always have to learn if you don't already know. So, thanks again for being in the house this Christmas Eve. Make sure you smash those like buttons because the YouTube gods, you never know what they like to do out here. Let people know that you're watching the video. Now, first things you see here is the Candlestick Bible. This is for stock trading for beginners or stock trading for experienced traders because a lot of people have not fully studied the candlesticks. The candlesticks tell a story. You can use the candlesticks to give you an edge. Probabilities increase because of hundreds of years of people using candlesticks starting in Japan. Just saying. All right. Now, what else can we do here besides that? Let me give you some other things to think about. You know, unstoppable domain. Go out here and get your own domain name. Why? Because you can get crypto sent to you using your unstoppable domain. So, of course, this helps you as well. I'm going to put a link here so you guys can download, go over. So, in other words, stopstrugglingnow.crypto, stopstrugglingnow.nft, stopstrugglingnow.bitcoinwallet.com. If you would send me crypto, that's all I need to give you. I don't have to send you a QR code. I don't have to send you alphanumeric characters. I don't have to do any of that. I can just go ssnlifestyle.crypto. You send whatever crypto you want. The top 400 cryptos are accepted, so just send it. I don't have to give you the alphanumeric character. I'm going to repeat this again. All right? Just saying, I like privacy. So, what am I going to do? Put it in the chat room as well. So, again, it's there for everybody. If you want the Candlestick Bible and you can't get into the chat room, you can go to stopstrugglingnow.com. And in the menu at the top, you will see a link that you can actually go and view the PDF and download it. So, that's a couple of ways you can get this going for you because we want you to have Christmas every week. And every week you can make money, especially if you're doing stock market trading. So I'm going to continue this for the rest of the year. Stock market trading. Why? Because the United States government, they are backing the stock market, which are the rich guys. 93% of the stock market is owned by the top 10% of the wealthiest. Keep that in mind. All right. We're going to ride the wave. When the Federal Reserve says they're going to cut interest rates, their federal funds rate, that allows banks and financial institutions and their best buddies that happen to own billion and trillion dollar corporations get to borrow at interest only rates at right now, probably down to 3.5 in house for 10 years to 15 years to 20 years. How would you like an interest only loan for 15 years? I think you would get ahead if that's all you had to pay was 3.5%, 3.75%, right? Okay. That's what we're talking about here. So, first things first, we're talking trading because you can do it all yourself because the stock market's going to be around. Whether it's going to be the Asian stock market, the London Stock Exchange, the Australian Stock Exchange, the US Stock Exchange, it does not matter. You can trade with any of them. So let me get you started with the first things first because Coinex is the broker I use. Although, hey, you can use whoever you want. I just like Coinex because it's not really maintained by the United States. They're not part of the US system. So I like being outside the US system. And that's why there's a link for Coinex. And there's something, if you don't do trading, I added something to it's an auto trading bot. Now, I will say as the market goes up, that is not good for you to use an auto trading bot. You should be learning how to trade without a bot. So then you'll understand what the bot actually does when it effectively makes money. And basically, I'll just tell you right now, effectively, if the market is moving sideways and trending a little down or a little up, you will end up positive using the Autobot. But if there's a trend up, like what's been happening lately, you will be in trouble. You will blow your account. If you're new to this, you won't understand when I say blow your account. What I mean is simply as $1,000 in your account, you run the Autobot and it goes to zero because all of a sudden there was an uptick in the stock market or the stock or the index or the gold or whatever you're trading. All right. Just to let you know. So if you want to go check out the Autobot, fine. But please do the referral, Eric Bird. All right. Now, I don't advise a person to just willy nilly get in like I did. I advise you to learn. That's why we started with the Candlestick Bible first. That's the first thing because it's Christmas every week from now on. That's what you need to do. Think about it. Passive income, the more you can get, the better. Stock trading, dividends. Think about dividend funds. How about an ETF, JEPQ, that's going to be around 10% annual return? JEPQ, that's a JP Morgan fund. JEPI is around 7.3 to 7.5% right now. But hey, we need double digits. We need at least 10% because inflation is more than 10%, quite frankly, even though the government says it's only 3 or 4 or 5. It doesn't really matter. It's double digits in reality. All right. So don't fall for, I just need a treasury bond at 4% because inflation is above 4% all the time. They just lie and don't include energy costs and they don't include food prices and they don't include other stuff. Otherwise, it would always be double digits. All right. Just keep things straight. I need you to understand you have 1 year, ladies and gentlemen, to get everything in order where you're going to have wealth. Your credit needs to be at 775. Now, let's get back to the CoinX situation, shall we? Because that's the first thing that you need to do is download or get to be affiliated with a broker. You can use whoever you want, but again, I want CoinX, so therefore I have a link for CoinX. They're outside the United States. That's why. Now, okay, we have all of that. And then I'm missing something, which is very interesting. I don't know why I'm missing something, but I know I'm missing something. But it's okay. We're going to continue because it's Christmas every week for you coming up. The federal government is backing everything, the businesses. They're giving them special deals, they're giving them low rates. They're also allowing buying back their own stocks, right? There are Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia. They are buying back their stock over the next now 2 years, and it totaling $15 billion to $20 billion, just those three. So it'd be no surprise if their stock price increases, right? They're buying back their own shares of stock in the billions. Okay? Get a grip. Understand. You need to ride the wave. Okay? Now, get your pen pads and papers ready because waves happen in different ways. You can have SPY, SPX. You can use these charts, or you can buy into the ETFs directly and earn what may be 9%, 10%, 12%, or more. On average, stock market rises about 9% annually, 8 to 9%, if you average it out over 40 years. But if you want to get more than 9% or 8%, 9%, 10%, occasionally it would get 13, but then it'll drop to 5% another year. If you want to do that, you have to fish yourself. You got to feed yourself. You have to learn, ladies and gentlemen. Every week we want you to win. Now, that CoinX you upload via crypto. All right? To the CoinX you upload crypto. That means you're the profit you download to crypto. If you're in America or some countries, obviously a lot of countries have um, regulations, so therefore they track you. So what do I have up next? Bancus. Bancus crypto Visa debit card, because the profits I'm going to be sending to my Bancus card. I ordered my Bancus card on December 14th, I believe it was, or 13th. But either way, it takes 2 to 3 weeks so far for everybody in America receiving it. So I expect it at the beginning of January. When I get my card, I'll be getting my card at the beginning of January, after January 8th. And then I will show you my actual plastic card that I got, because it cost me $35 plus $10 for shipping. So it actually costs $45 for the plastic card that you can use for tap. They also have a metal card. It's $75 plus $10 for shipping, and that's $85 total. But that card you can't tap, it's metal. It also doesn't have a name on it, so you cannot do a cash advance. I like the no name. No cash advance. Fine. There you go. Visa debit card, and it's in operation as we speak. You should join the group, or what are you going to do? Let me go get some Bancus information. 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. Probably not tomorrow because it's Christmas. And hopefully everybody is with their family and loved ones during Christmas if possible. Some people are actually going to be working, because some people have jobs that's in the service business that are open on Christmas. So some people get to choose. And you know what? In some states, you don't even get overtime for holiday pay. Just saying. So, Bancus debit card, there is the link. Please use the link to download. Why again? Because Christmas every week is coming. Why? Because even with Bancus, you can share your link and there's a money making component to it. Now you're going, well, wait a minute, Eric, I'm downloading money to this card, the crypto to this card, USDT, USDC. I'm downloading it to the card. That's right. They take 4% out. Just saying, that's the transaction fee when you download to the card. All right. So they give you like I don't really know, because don't really care about this feature, but it's 1 to 2% every time a person that you refer uploads, and they give it to your account instantly. So that is a component to make additional money. And guess what else? You can sign up. If another person signs up other people, then now all of a sudden it starts being like network marketing type of thing. They do have a promotion by February 16th. If you do X amount, I don't have that info. I'll have it next week after Christmas. All right. So you guys come back on Friday night and I'll give you guys the promo that they have that expires February 16th. And if you do X amount of something, then you get a trip to Mexico City, I think it is. So that's the other thing. Now, the links to the Zoom every Tuesday and Thursday, except obviously on Christmas, I don't think there's going to be a Zoom call. 2 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's always the same. So keep that information handy. So next Tuesday, you'll be able to get in the Zoom call. Then you'll also get into their WhatsApp group. All right. It's that simple. So hopefully, if anybody has any questions, let me know because it's Christmas time. Ho, ho, ho. I'm playing Santa tonight, making sure you guys get in position to win. Now, the other part about this card, it's not in America. You guys see a theme here. Can I just put this out there? If a country is $40 trillion plus in debt, has a $40 trillion plus deficit, if you also have other things, derivatives. What do I mean by derivatives? In case you're new here, you have to understand there's going to be a collapse because I can tell you, I'll just make this very simple. A builder, he says this: I sold 10 homes because people signed a contract, right? Or a bank, let's say, a bank gave 10 loans for $500,000. That's $5 million. So you go, great for them, except the problem is they collect roughly $2,000 per month for 30 years. Well, what if you don't want to wait 30 years to get your 9.5 to 10 million? Some people are going to go, hey, Eric, why are you talking about 9.5 to 10 million when you told me 5 million? Right. 10 times 500 is 5 million. If you paid cash, it's 5 million. If you decide to go and get a 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 mortgage, guess what? With the interest added over 30 years, you pay double. So, do you understand now why banks or mortgage companies all of a sudden you get a notice in the mail and say they've changed the mortgage holder? Or the lender rather, not the mortgage holder. They changed the lender. I'm sure some of you, if you've owned several homes, you have over the course of time all of a sudden got a letter saying here's the new servicing company, right? Send the payment to them. That is because they are derivatives. That person that bought that $5 million worth of debt, he might have paid the person, the bank or whatever, 1 million, 1.5, 2 million, 2.5. Who knows? Because they know they're going to be collecting somewhere between 9 and 10 million. So of course somebody might say, well, yeah, let me have it. I'll give you $2 million right now. And the person says, thank you very much. Now that $2 million is out of thin air, just like the piece of paper is out of thin air. Now you have more than two derivatives. Now that person has 2 million. He goes and puts it down on something and buys something at a loan, another derivative. So again, these derivatives are endless. They're in the quadrillions. All that needs to happen is you have a lockup in credit. Nobody can bail themselves out because you have to understand. If you lock up credit and you stop giving out credit and can't, now these people start getting loans against their assets. But now, if those assets aren't being paid on due to a bad economy or whatever else happens, all of a sudden the cards start going down fast because what somebody thought they were going to get for the first derivative, now they're not getting paid. Now that first derivative can't pay the people for the second derivative. So you start having a meltdown. And this is what happened in the Great Recession in 2008. And that's why the banks went to the government and started whining, going, oh my God, it's over if we don't get bailouts. That's why it was going to be over. Because if they didn't get any money to service that debt, it was over. We were talking 1933 at this point. So again, we are still there. Nothing was fixed. So again, you better understand what the situation is. And that's why the Bancus card, a long way around it. Bancus card is outside the United States. They can't jack you. The United States government is running a deficit, who's printing money as we speak, who's creating more derivatives. Because those assets under management by BlackRock, guess what? They get to go out here and say, well, we have $1 trillion under management. Can we get $100 million? That $100 million they're borrowing, now they go use that to go buy some more assets that people are going to pay, right? Like, let's say some homes, a few thousand homes. But then what happens if people default? Just saying. Do you understand the situation that we are being put in? And never mind about the credit card debt, because that's why you need a 775 or higher in 1 year, 2 months. That's your cutoff, December 31st, ladies and gentlemen, because every week we got to worry about this. But put your eggs in several baskets. Make sure you have a little dividend money coming in. Make sure you have some sort of extracurricular business activity where you have a little money coming in. Passive income is going to be a great thing in the future. The only problem with passive income is it has to keep going up. You don't get to sit on your laurels. This ain't 1950, 1960, 1970. Them days are over. Things only going up 2% or 1% a year. You can forget about it. That's over. Things are going up 50, 60, 100% a year, 15% a year. How many people have gotten insurance this year? Renewals. You guys know what I'm talking about. How many of you have gotten new property taxes? You know what I'm talking about. All of those things didn't just go up no 1, 2, 3%. Come on now. Let's stop out here playing. I don't know why people want to bury their heads in the sand, but it's going to be over sooner or later. But you want to make sure you have assets inside your country and outside your country, bank accounts outside your country. That's why Bancus is another account outside of your country. If you go to another country, you should be opening up bank accounts. What should you bring? Your tax returns. United States, you should bring 6 months worth of your, or keep them on your computer or in your email, whatever, 6 months worth of bank statements, your tax returns from the previous year, 2 IDs, social security cards. Because whenever country you go to, just ask, hey, can I open up a bank account? So you can drop a few dimes in there. All right. Protect yourself. Buy a little bit of gold, buy a little bit of silver, precious metals, palladium, platinum, whatever. Get a little bit of it. All right. Hedge against inflation a little bit. All right. It stays with the inflation number. Oh, well, actually, it doesn't, but it kind of moves up as inflation moves up. The real deal is gold should be at tens of like six. I actually did the numbers one day of 60, $70,000 an ounce. Silver should be over 1,000. It should be something like 1,500 to 2,000 per ounce. Just so you guys know, if you start taking what did I use? 1970. If you take 1972, I think I started when they got off the gold standard United States. But if you do like early 1970s and go up to 20, even now, 2025, and go by the inflation, and then when you go by what the inflation really is. So if you start figuring out inflation is roughly about 10% every year, you just take the number from there. And actually, now that I really think about it, I took it from 1979, 1980, because there was a spike when these brothers were buying up silver, and there was a spike, and then it came back down to reality. So can you imagine something going up to like 50, $60 and all of a sudden coming back to like $6 or $3 or whatever? That's what happened. And from that time on, the United States government said, hold up, man, we better figure out what to do, because we have a lot of people collecting silver and gold. So what we're going to do is make notes. We're going to sell it on the stock exchange, ETFs, where you can buy silver, which is not really silver, right? Or you can buy these silver notes or gold notes, which is paper, devaluing the currency. So that's what they've been doing this whole time. All right, just so you guys understand. So that's why Bancus card outside of America, you send crypto and you can find out more. And you can make money by referring other people, telling other people about a crypto Visa debit card. Seriously, like, I don't see a problem with this. The card is already actually in use. On Monday of next week, which is Money Making Monday, I'm going to show videos that was from the Zoom call for the grand opening December 15th, where there's short videos and I'm going to show them. They'll be here on Monday. 8:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't miss it, ladies and gentlemen, but make sure you download the Bancus app. Even if you don't order the card, please download the app. But I advise you to order at least one of the cards. Again, I did not buy the metal card. I don't have any reason for a metal card. I have every reason for a tap card and a plastic card. I don't care if the thing goes ting, ting, ting. All right. All I care about is it works and I have no issues. And they both work. People have used them in gas stations, ATM machines. Everybody in the group not everybody. A lot of people are leaving videos when they're doing it for transactions. A person went to the bank to get a cash advance, right? Thinking that they're going to get a cash advance. They got up there, the bank was sitting there processing everything. And then before they went to go swipe it, they looked at the card and said, there's no name on the card. I just started laughing. I said, right. And so that means just what they were going to say, I'm going to say it. They said, the bank said they couldn't process it. I say, of course, because there's no name. You're trackable. I said, that's the point. I said, I can live with no name on the card, which is how it should be. Play like the rich guys, please. Okay? Stop playing like the chump where they're tracking you for every little thing you do. There's a reason a government tracks people. Just think about that. If you haven't had money stolen from your bank account or a brokerage account hemmed up or anything like that, then you're probably still naive. But if you lived and found somebody that was about 115, maybe, they could probably tell you about the Great Depression when the banks closed and their parents couldn't get their money out of the bank. And they didn't care if you starved. All right. Here we are 100 years later, and we can possibly be in that same situation. I'm just saying it's possible, but not likely, but it's possible. All right. So that's why you should be thinking slightly different. Everything is not safe out here. You can say, I have $1 million in the bank. Go Google and find out how many people, because we have social media now. This ain't like before where there's no social media. There's social media now. There's people all over YouTube. Just use YouTube. There's a lot of people everywhere, and they'll tell you what happened in 2008 when their accounts got raided. That's right. Oh, and it wasn't just ordinary citizens, OCs. It was rich guys who had 500,000, $1 million. And the bank said, we need the money, man. See, find out those guys that had their safe deposit boxes safe, right? Deposit boxes raided by federal agencies. And then told, prove to us what you had in the box. So think about that jewelry, the gold, the silver. Think about it. The dinero. Think about it. Whatever else you have in there, think about it. All of a sudden, somebody goes to you after they stole it. Prove to us you actually owned it. Now, keep in mind it's a double-edged sword because they might start trying to say, you go, well, I had a $500,000 in there. They're going to go, oh, really? How? Where? Do you get this from? You see, all of a sudden, you're a suspect. All I'm saying is be very careful when you don't know where you live. All right? Now, the Bancus card, I think that should be at one of your top lists as well. Credit wise, I'm just going to get you guys, we want you to have 0% interest at 36 months. That's why you need that 775 or higher credit score, because then you'll have options beyond what's on the street. Right now, there's 0% for 24 months. 0% interest for 24 months to use your credit card. Can you imagine how helpful that would be? But next year, I don't know for a fact. I am guessing, but I strongly feel they are going to come up with 0% for 36 months about 8 months from now, because they're going to have to extend credit to people, and they're not going to want to extend credit to those people that have created the highest amount of credit card debt in history. They don't want to do that. They're going to try to find the people that will pay, because there's going to be a cavalcade of people who won't pay, and that's going to be detrimental. So they need the best people with the best credit. and they're going to give them huge advantages. Okay? Because business is going to be sparse, right? There's not going to be that many people that's going to fall in this 775 and up category versus who falls in the 620 to 720 category. Just put it in there, ladies and gentlemen. 1.6 million people have lost their job this year. Think about it. All it takes is 80% of the population is living paycheck to paycheck right now. Just imagine you don't get a month's worth of paycheck. What's happening after 3 months you don't get a paycheck? Think about it. We know that's catastrophic. So again, you have to think about Christmas every day. All right. James Way is in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation holiday Christmas Eve Wealthy Wednesday live stream edition. And he brings his tagline, Merry Xmas all. Hope all is well. Merry Xmas to you and your family. Thank you so much for being here. The rent is still too damn high. So ask Santa for more assets. Getting my card ASAP. Thank you so much, James Way. Very, very happy to hear it, man. Get your card ASAP is right. Thank you for the cosign. Go and get it. Thank you. And I'm glad you're here because the rent is going to get higher. Some people would be going, hey, Eric, the rent ain't going to get higher for me. I own my own house. Or I rent from somebody else. It ain't going to get higher. Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting higher. The reason why your landlord has to pay property taxes and insurance. They're going up to who knows what number. Just those two things are going up. And we're not, if your property tax was $3,000 last year, it could be $4,500 this year. Depending on where you live, it could be $6,000. It just depends. Insurance, just because your insurance was $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 last year, it might be $6,000 this year, or might be canceled. So then you have to go with what they call tier 2 or tier 3 insurance company that's going to charge you an arm and a leg. All of a sudden, you're paying $7,500 a year. All of a sudden, you're paying $1,000 to $1,500 more per month as the landlord. Are you really going to let your renters just sit there and go, oh, yeah, we're not going to raise your rent except for about 3% this year? Hell no, you're not. Stop playing out here. All right. So this is a situation that you have to be in the driver's seat. You have to be holding assets that pay you, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's get into that free shares of stock that you guys need to do. If you don't have a brokerage account yet, it's almost like I have to shame you because you have to, if you're in America, you have to have a brokerage account. You have to invest in the stock market. All right. Or something that's going to give you a return. There's no way you can sit on the sidelines because the stock market is booming. It's going to reach all-time record highs for the next 6 months because they're going to reduce the Federal Reserve is going to reduce the rates after February. It's either going to be February or March. For sure, Jerome Powell's going to be changed over. So that means that vote that he normally would have said, hey, calm down, we're only going to do 0.25 basis points or we're not going to do anything at all. All of a sudden, that new guy that Trump appoints is going to go, it should be down to 0, man, trying to influence the rest of the board players. And all he needs is 6 or 5, depending. He already has 3. And then he's going to have 4. So now all he needs to do is sway 2 people or 3 to sit there and say, yeah, man, just cut us 1 basis point instead of 0.25 or anything like that. Even though inflation is out of control, it does not matter. That's what their objective is, to ruin you. Your savings accounts will be down to 2%, 1.5%. That's not good. The rich are going to get a hell of a lot wealthier because they borrow at lower rates, higher amounts. You can't go out here and borrow $100 million at 1.5% or 1%, can you? No, they can, so they can buy up more assets. So now you understand why the bottom 50%, their personal net worth is $13,000, $13,200 roughly or whatever. But how about the 51% up to 90%? You would be like, okay, what's that? 300,000 personal net wealth. But it gets awesome for the top 10% because the top 10% or 99%, 90 to 99%, how about 3.2, 3.4 million personal net worth average? You could do a lot with that. But how about the 1%? 15 million average. Do you see a problem here, ladies and gentlemen? Do you understand the problem yet? Bottom 50% has a personal net worth of $13,200, $13,500. That's it. So let me ask you something. Where are the taxes and how are the taxes going to be paid if the 50% of your population only has that net worth? So who should be paying more? Obviously, the only way you're going to get any additional revenue is by taxing the top 50% more and corporations because the bottom 50% is a race to the bottom. There's not enough jobs for the bottom 50%. So, hopefully, Christmas every week for those of you who are going to be able to take advantage, I hope. MDA 0214, welcome to the Wednesday night, Christmas Eve, wealthy Wednesday night live stream. And he brings his tagline, if the country crashed, what will gold do for you? Absolutely nothing. I got to carry it on a bag, man. I got to carry the bag. All right. How will you cash out that gold? There we go. And this is a very good question because, again, this is why I say just a little bit. I can't be the stacker guy. I'm just going to say this right now. The reason I'm not the stacker guy is because of this question right here. Let's just get real. The real situation is, what if you have 100 pounds of gold, silver, precious metals, and SHIT hits the fan? You really gonna go to your safe and be like stuffing stuff and trying to carry 100 pounds of this garbage? Well, it's not garbage. It's worth a lot possibly, but you're gonna be carrying 100 pounds of this stuff? How far? Really? You're gonna have to leave it. But let's just go with the real deal because this right here is the real deal. Venezuela collapsed. United States collapsed in 1930s. Both countries did the exact same thing. Outlawed. Be patriotic. Give us some gold. We'll give you some worthless paper money. That's what the United States did. That's what Venezuela did. You know what people said? Some people said, oh, yeah, I'm patriotic. Here you go. Here's your gold. Here's some silver. I'm patriotic. You can give me some of them greenbacks that are worthless, debt pieces of paper. And then Venezuela, they did the same thing. Funny, Venezuela and US has done the same things. But anyhow, I won't get into that tonight. But it's Christmas Eve. And so therefore, Venezuela, they did the same thing that America did in the 1930s with their gold and silver. So you know what people did? They said, oh my God, I can't get what it's worth because they want me to give it to them. So I know I'm going to go next door to Colombia because we might as well leave because, it's hard over here. So they carry their duffel bags of gold and silver coins over to Colombia. You know what happened in Colombia? Colombia goes, the gold and silver and precious metal dealers are like, yeah, man, I know you're having a rough time. So since you're having a rough time, you know, the silver is like $25 an ounce and gold is like 2,500. But since you are having a stressful situation and we know you can't sell it anywhere else, we're not giving you the rate. We're going to give you like $1,500 an ounce for gold and maybe $12 an ounce for silver. So all this nonsense that people always said for the stackers, yeah, I'm like telling you, history does not show what happens when SHIT hits the fan. It shows you already what's going to happen. And this is to the point that MDA 0214 is saying, and I totally agree with it because we always talked about a little bit of gold and silver. Not a lot because you can't carry it. If things really hit the fan, it's all good when you have a safe and you're all sitting at home in a nice, cozy environment. But if you got Gestapo on your ass. You ain't carrying all that stuff. Sorry, you might be at the pad when they get you. So I'm just saying, okay, your stuff's at the pad. They're gonna get you. And they went through your pad to go bang around and get your stuff. Come on now, stop playing out here. This is what's going on. But again, this is exactly what happens. Gold, and this is why, to the point of MDA 0214, this is why I just mentioned about those safe deposit boxes that you think are safe in a regulated environment that aren't safe. Same thing. So you said, well, I know a bank safe deposit box ain't safe. Okay, I get it. So I'm going to go down the street to a vault that's supposed to be safe, regulated by the United States government, and everybody says it's safe. It's all good. Until the United States government says, I need a warrant for Eric Bird's safe deposit box in your vault. And the vault guys go, well, I'm going to adhere to the United States government because you told me he's a scam artist. He's been laundering money. He's got to, we need the money back from victims. So then you comply. And after you comply, you open the doors. They send in about 25 federal agents. The federal agents go, hey, man, there's Eric Bird's box right there. Let's just take his. But then meanwhile, the other bad dudes, they go, hey, man, we're the federal government. Why are we just taking Eric Bird's? Why don't we just take everybody's stuff in here? Because, and then we're going to tell them to tell us what they had in their safe deposit box and prove it. And since we're in a high end area like Beverly Hills, man, this might be all right. Because we're going to probably come up with hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stuff. And I'm pretty sure some of these guys aren't going to want to come up here and tell us what they had in there. And so we might be able to keep tens of mils. Yeah, let's just break into everybody's. Already happened, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a fantasy. All right, get straight. All right, Tamara Larry, welcome to the Assassination Wealthy Christmas Eve live edition. And she brings her tagline this evening. Hello, all. It's always simple. It's always this thing. Let the boys know Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas to you as well. And again, MDA says, I just believe in the U.S. economy, so I'd rather use stocks. If things get that bad, I don't think gold will help. You would be better off having a shoebox of cash. There you go, the duffel bag of cash. That's exactly right. I agree with this 110%. You need a duffel bag of cash in locations that you know about. And by the way, that the federal government does not know about. I'm just saying. All right? Just remember, everything's trackable until it's not. All right? That's why I always talk about a duffel bag of cash here. Ho, ho, ho. That's what's in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. Cash. Just saying. I appreciate what he says about the stocks. There's a reason he's going to say this. And the reason is simply this. Because in his lifetime and in all of our lifetime, unless, like I said, unless you're 100 and you would have to be 21. So you'd have to be 125 years old because you would have been over 18 or 21 where you could have made an investment on a brokerage account in 1930. And so therefore you never lived through something other than these flash things like a Black Friday or a Black Monday or a downturn in the economy like a pandemic, and then it bounces back up. But imagine if you actually lived back then where it drops and it doesn't bounce right back up. It just drops. And you have people killing themselves like on a Black Friday or Black Monday. And it wasn't a Black Friday or Monday. It was a long few years and it doesn't recover. That's a whole nother ball game. And nobody in this generation or a previous generation has lived through a stock market that has been sideways or down, up, down, down for 10 years, 8 years. Nobody has lived through that. Only them. So that's why nobody in today's society is going to ever believe the stock market's going to do anything but continue to go up because it's designed that way. They take off the losers out of the stock market indexes and they add the new winners. So that's why it's always going to continue to rise, but it's on the back of fake economics. That's the problem. Sooner or later, there's going to be a collision. You can't write deficits, you can't print money, and now you come up with another pseudo currency called cryptocurrency. That is a problem. If you start messing with cryptocurrency, you're going to devalue your own currency, your paper currency. Your paper currency right now in the USA is only used in 54% of the world. And before everybody starts tripping, BRICS is less than 5%. All of the BRICS nations is less than 5% that their currency is used in the world. And they have about 30 countries. The reason why is their currency is like 10 to 1, 250 to 1. I mean, basically, and China is the biggest piece of the pie at only like 2.5 to 2.7%. So that's why United States still feels safe until, like I've always said here, in case you're new, until you realize you start counting the numbers and you start going, okay, wait a minute. All these BRIC countries have over half of the world's population. So if they turn off using the US dollar and then they have their own currency under BRICS, all of a sudden, if you have 5 billion people on the planet using BRICS currency and the other 3 billion are using the US currency, do you now see a problem? And then you say, well, okay, forget the US currency. We have crypto. We're going to use stable coins. Okay, but stable coins are electronic thin air. It's only assigned a value based on people buying it. If people aren't buying it, then what's the value? That's where the problem starts coming in. So when you start hearing government like USA's talking about we're going to do crypto, and I'm like, hold up, man. You're going against the rules. All right. James Way, that bank vault story sound like Trump and that oil. Oh man, that's exactly right. It's exactly you hit it right on the head, James Way. That's exactly right. DIM pals, welcome to the SSN Nation Christmas Eve Wealthy Wednesday live edition. Another investor in the house. Whoa, whoa. And Merry Christmas to you, DIM pals. And he brings his tagline, good evening all. And once again, please smash that like button if you like what we're talking about tonight. Because again, it's Christmas Eve. We want you to make sure that it's Christmas every week. We're trying to give you some nuggets because we have people that invest here. That's right. We have people that have went through some things also. That's me. And I'm sure there's a few others that watches this too, that people will never believe the government or state governments do to people. They do. Just like how they disappear people right now. They do. All right? They do. Because a lot of people will not be under the situation where they go, hey, man, I was in jail. Then people go, no, you're not. We can't find you. Yeah, see, now there's people because of mass deportation finding out, there's United States citizens finding out right now that their family members can't find them. But when I was yelling in the wind 30 years ago and people were like, nah, man, our government wouldn't do nothing like that. I was like, one day could be your ass. Okay. One day. That's what they do. You heard of black sites? That's what they do. What's wrong with you guys right now? No, no, no. Our government, no, police, no. They wouldn't do nothing like that. Not to American citizens. Yeah, okay. Keep playing, keep believing, but you better protect yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Again, it's Christmas Eve. Ho, ho, ho. And by the way, is Santa Claus even real? I'm just saying, I know we got kids. I know you told the kids a lie. I know. You still playing it up. Look, I'm playing it up still to this day. Old dude wearing the Santa Claus hat. I know. All right. MDA, but that's exactly why you should have a percentage of your portfolio in cash. That's exactly right. I agree with you. What's the most valuable asset in the deflationary market? Cash. He's exactly right. I will always have to. He's exactly right. And by the way, MDA0214, you know I agree with this 100% because you always know. I always said you better have a duffel bag of cash and load it in a few spots. You know this. This is all I've ever talked about. The duffel bag of cash. Got to have it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be caught red-handed. Again, I'm going to say this again. You don't know where you live, okay? Not to MDA0214. People in America don't know where they live. They think they live in some sort of level stuff. No, 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 no. If push comes to shove, they're coming. Okay? They'll come get your stuff. All right? It's that simple. So that's why you should be flexible. Money outside the United States in a bank account, just as safe as in a bank account in America. No difference. Duffel bag of cash. You should have that in several locations, unbeknownst to government officials. So, no, I'm not talking about doing some stupid stuff like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go put it in the storage locker that you signed for. I'm not talking about nothing stupid like that, all right? It's even better if I start talking about put it in the walls. I mean, at least that's better than nothing. You can always come back, and the person after they move in and they don't bust down their walls, at least you know where it is, and you'd be like, hey man, I got a plaster dude here. I need to get something that belongs to me. They'll be like, hey, I'm calling the police. I'm like, but I told you I'll give you money for this. All right. In fact, here it is. Here, fix this. I'm like, okay, I better stop telling stories. I better stop telling. All right. But he's exactly right here. I agree with this. You got to have the duffel bag of cash, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Santa is real. Uh-oh, I messed up. Got the grandkids watching. All right. Um, Santa comes in all forms, shapes, and sizes, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and since I'm a black guy, color. Because again, you know what's funny? I have to just say this right now. So you can imagine, I grew up, both my parents are black, and we have black Santa on the sleigh with the reindeers in our front yard. Yes, that's right. Hard to find, but mom and dad had it. Lighting up and everything. So I didn't live in just a black neighborhood. But of course, I'm riding my bike. I look up, I see like white Santa. I was like, that's interesting. A white Santa. Huh. You can imagine living in a nation of immigrants. Santa's real. Oh, man. There we go. All right. There's a Santa that comes in all shapes, forms, and sizes because, again, I should give out my Santa Claus donation drive. So might as well just say it now. Shriners Hospital for Children under 18 and beyond, because if they get services by Shriner under 18, they have free services. I've seen them fly in families to stay near the Shriners Hospital while their children were getting treatment or staying at the hospital. Guess what the cost was? Zero. Shriners Hospital, and specifically, if you have to, Shriners Children's Hospital of Sacramento, if you want to donate to them directly. All right. But I'm just saying, um, awesome stuff. Santa stuff, ladies and gentlemen. All right. And a tax write off. I'm just saying, tax write off. It's official. All right. Win win. Get your name on the board, a plaque, just for a simple $200 donation. Not a big plaque. It's just a plate, really. But all I'm saying, what's wrong with that? Show some love. All right. They do great stuff and they don't crow about it. Imagine free services for people that have gotten stuff that is beyond someone's imagination. Burn victims, cuts, disformities, surgeries that are out there. These guys are helping families with at zero cost. Zero. Literally wild stuff. Okay. Wild stuff. Wild. Also, invest in solid dividend stocks. Exactly. You know what? Coca-Cola paid dividends during the Great Depression. I'm glad he said that. I was just getting ready to talk about that. During the Great Depression, tobacco companies did good. So Philip Morris is another anchor for a dividend portfolio. And it's a funny thing, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, even though their prices have risen, even though their dividends are probably 2-3% now, but it just keeps growing and growing because they keep buying up companies and they have the capital, and because they're worldwide they can do so much damage. So I have to agree, even though this dividend is small, Philip Morris has expanded outside of tobacco to still create a great company as well. So yes, I agree, it's just unfortunate that their dividend return is so low it doesn't beat inflation. That's the only problem, but they'll keep going. All right, Bondsman says, question and your opinion. If the dollar is devalued, what is the point in having cash? How can you barter or buy anything if the dollar is rendered worthless? Again, you always need a duffel bag of cash because remember this. I think global, I don't think America. You are right. If you're in America, it's devalued. If I'm outside of America, you have a set period of time that cash is going to be worth a substantial amount, almost the same amount. In America, we're going to have I should explain devalue. Devalue is like this. So earlier this year, the dollar value lost 11.7%. Okay? So what that actually meant was it cost you 11.7% more to buy the same amount of goods that you previously did in 2024 on top of the inflation. So the dollars in your duffel bag of cash is still dollars. They've been devalued. You're going to need more dollars. So you do have a good point. You need more dollars to buy the same goods from the previous year. This is very, very well true. But I'm going to ask you the most important question. If you don't have the cash yourself and you leave it in a regulated environment, a bank or brokerage accounts or anything else, and it's taken, where does that leave you? Devalued currency or not, it's better to have cash than no cash, no ATM working, no nothing working, and you're going, oh, damn, I left all my money in there. And the government says it's a bank holiday for a month or forever. That's why you need a duffel bag of cash. Not a hey, just like MDA 0214 says, 10%, 5%, 10%, you need a duffel bag of cash. You need cash. Just I'm just going to say this because I went in the ATL about 6 months ago. I went down to Chase Bank, went to the ATM machine, tried to use it. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, the ATM machines, they go out. I went in the lobby. It was out. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's a ATM issue right now. They had some guys with the checking it out inside. So I was like, okay, maybe something. So I said, oh, I'll just go like 2 miles down here where the other Chase is, use the ATM, no big deal. I got down to the second one. Guess what? It wasn't just that bank. Apparently there was an outage at several banks. So now people could not get their money out of the bank. This is a prelude of what could happen. That's why you need the duffel bag of cash, Bondsman. And welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Christmas Eve Live Edition. And make sure you guys smash that like button, give it a one piece because you never know who out here needs to know about this. But that's what you got to do. How can you barter or anything? Bartering's a whole nother issue because right now you can barter. It's all but bartering means it's a supply and demand. Somebody has to want what you are giving them, and you need to want what they have to offer, and you have to find these people. I mean, people barter right now, quite frankly. I mean, think about it. But I understand your point, but again, you should always have a duffel bag of cash. You should never, because again, Bondsman, the situation is, I have had my brokerage accounts, my bank accounts wiped, and going into banks and doing lawsuits and doing all this and doing you these guys are protected because you gave when you signed something at your when you opened up a bank account, you signed over. You no longer own the money. They own the money. That's what you sign when you open up bank accounts. So every time you go drop money in the bank, it's their money. It's not yours anymore. So that's why they can hem you up on the way out. When you come in and say, "Hey, I need $25,000," they can look at you and say, "Nah, I don't think so." You can get all mad you want, but not today. Why don't you come back in a few days and we'll make an appointment and. But right now we can give you like 3 Gs, and people get upset. But you've already signed over the agreement. It's their money, and so when they take it, it's their money. Just saying. All right. Hopefully that helps Bonson and it helps other people because you don't live where you think you live. You live in a third world country. You just don't know it because we have fluff. We have credit cards. We have where people can get loans like HELOC loans. We can get credit cards. We can go down to borrow based on you have a car, based on you have a house, based on you have other assets, stocks, based on other assets, a business. I mean, you can borrow. Sooner or later, all this borrowing is going to come to a head. And again, it would have in 2008, 2009, the federal government did communist stuff. Instead of letting those banks fail because they were over leveraged and let some other new bank and new entity come in that's going to be more efficient, they saved the old guard. And the old guard just picked up the pieces and said, "Oh, okay, thanks for the new regulations. Thanks for the bailout. Okay, let's keep rocking and rolling." Oh, Lehman Brothers. Yeah, well, you guys had to take a hit, but we're going to save AIG, the insurance company. We got to save them. We got to save JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Hey, the Carnegie Bank, the Mellon Bank, we got to save them guys. Citibank, we're going to save them too. Leave them. Come on, we ain't going to save you guys. And we're gonna, you got to fall on the sword. We can't let everybody stay, but you can still come back and work for us. In fact, we'll make this up for you guys. All right, we'll make it up to you. Okay, well, we can call you for $2 million to be a guest speaker at some of our events every year. How about that? All right, don't worry about it. Oh, those people that work that under you, they'll get new jobs. Don't worry about it. But don't worry, you guys, just fall on the sword. We'll get you, make sure you get caught up. In fact, we'll just give you some of this money that we're getting from taxpayers. Okay, I better stop tonight. I'm already going to get banned. All right, Bonzen, thank you so much for asking that question because you're exactly right, man. If it's devalued, we know how the devalue is. Like right now, our currency is devalued. It's not what it was a year ago. We have inflation, but that's different than devalued currency. Every time they print money, that devalues the currency. And they're printing money as we speak, just so you understand. All right. So that's why other countries around the world join BRICS because they're like, we're tired of the big bad bully telling us that they're going to do things to us when their currency is worthless. Right. That's what happened. So all these countries have finally started banding together, going, "Hey, man, we don't have to play with you. We just did because we wanted to do business on the United States Stock Exchange, and the EU was somewhat we can work with. But if you guys don't want to work with us, you're the minority. We don't have to, especially since China joined them. So now China is larger than the United States or equal to the United States with trillions of dollars. GDP is high. They're about the same. China might even be ahead by now. So now they're going, well, we have our USA, China, even though their currency is the yuan's only like I said, it's probably up to 2.8% by now or somewhere thereabouts currency worldwide, but who cares? All of those BRICS countries together, like I said, they're not even above 5%, but it does not matter. They have more than 5% of the population, worldwide population. All they have to do is turn off everybody else's currency and go, here's ours. And we have 5 billion people under management. That becomes a very, very powerful situation because now all the rich people from all those countries, they're going to be, their banks are going to be in, their money's going to be in their banks. Sure, they'll still be in USA banks as well. But now they're going to have assets under management as well. They become a huge financial force. So I don't really care if their currency is 2 point. And you know what? I usually Google. So let me go check out right now because BRICS added members. Okay, how much of world currency is held by BRICS countries? Okay, let's see what the new number is because I haven't checked it since 2 or 3 years back. They didn't have as many members. Now that they have 30, let's see. Okay. Uh-oh. We got a problem, ladies and gentlemen. They now have 42% of the world's total foreign exchange reserves. Whoa. Uh-oh. That's a problem. This is and BRICS is talking about, wait, what? The potential impact of a new BRICS currency remains uncertain. However, new BRICS currency was stabilized and against the dollar that could weaken the power of the U.S. sanctions. That's exactly why they did it. Because they got tired of the United States roaming around like police of the universe and saying, okay, we're going to sanction you or we'll do an embargo. And they're just like, why, man? Look at what you guys are doing. But we do the same thing, but you're doing this to us. And they're like, forget that. And that's exactly what this says. It could weaken the power of the U.S. sanctions because you can't sanction anybody. Just like right now, there's sanctions against Russia. But guess what? Russia can get oil and it doesn't have to be U.S. dollars. So people are allowing to exchange other currency for the Russian rubles. And that's how you weaken the paper tiger. All right. I mean, if you really had to start writing and looking into this, you'd be like, holy, if you really wanted to bring down America, guess what? The BRICS countries are doing it. They've already started the ball rolling. And if they're up to 40 some percent, that's bad news. I don't know if it's 42% what they're talking about. I don't understand this FX reserve, foreign exchange reserves. Maybe okay, how much of the world currency is held? No, that's not what I need. How much of the world currency is circulated? That's what I want. Circulated. I don't want held. Let's go. Circulated. Let's see what it is. Okay. Here we are. They're up to 6.8% because I thought 42% was way too much. Okay, so now they're up to 6.8% as of 2022. But guess what? They've added about another 10 to so currencies or countries rather. 6.6. Okay. So 2024 global payments with BRICS is 6.6, but that still doesn't give me FX trades approximately 8.5%. Okay, there we go. It's somewhere, it was 6.8% in 2022. It's now up to 8.5%. But I'll put USA because it used to be around 54%. Let's see what it is now. It says 54 to 57% of global trade invoicing, 58% of global foreign exchange reserves. Well, this is going to be a problem because didn't they just tell us that if the US dollar is 58% of global foreign exchange reserves, wasn't the BRICS 42% of global foreign exchange reserves? Wow. Okay. That's not good. So again, that just proves my point. This is very dangerous. Brian P, Mr. Dividend, he knows all about Christmas every week, getting dividends from the Yilmax ETF crew. Welcome to the SSN Nation Christmas Eve Wealthy Wednesday Night Live edition. And he brings his tagline here. Eric, did you see the bad news? Oh no, man, we can't talk bad news on Christmas Eve. It's ho ho ho. It's Santa coming with the reindeer flying in tonight to deliver. And who's Santa? It's you. It's me. The helpers. That's what we're out here doing. Mr. Light, 5190's back in the house again for the Christmas Eve, and welcome to the SSN Nation Wealthy Wednesday Night Christmas Eve edition. And he brings his tagline this evening. Hello, all. Hello to you, man. And by the way, everybody, please smash that like button so the YouTube gods know that you're in the house. Now, if you guys want to talk about some dividends, go check out PLTY. If it's about 50 to 53, $54, I would think that's a Pelletier. PLTY. That's why you always got to keep that pen, pad, and paper handy. You never know what's going to come up. Just like we talked about Coca-Cola. Go check them out, right? They have dividends. They keep giving out dividends. AT&T increased their dividends for a long time, like 30 years or something, maybe even 40. They finally, under the pandemic, was for the first time reduced their dividend that they give out. But AT&T still gives out dividends too. I'm just saying, just like all the oil companies give out dividends. But again, be very, very cautious because 3%, 2%, 4%. I mean, if it's less than 4%, you might as well buy treasury bonds, 30-year or something, and get 4%. And you're guaranteed that. But I'm just saying, all right. I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I've already been here an hour. I came in a little bit late. I was out. Oh, by the way, $1.6 billion I saw at the Powerball today. Are we serious right now? 1.6. It's possible. You know why? You have a 1 in 255 million chance. And so I was discussing this today because I think somebody's going to win shortly. The reason I say that is because just for fun, some billionaire, multi-billionaire, like let's say a guy has 10 billion, he's going to wake up and he's going to go, wait a minute. Oh, MDA0214, I know you're going to tell Martin Scarelli, right? I'm just saying. He could easily just go, you know what? I'll just buy every number. 255 million, which cost $2 a ticket, I believe. So it's $510, $515 million. And if I win, I get 1.6. That is a serious payday for a system that you can actually exploit because you can buy $510 million worth of lottery tickets. So somebody would say, well, what if there's two people that win? Okay, 800 million you split. Then some people are going to go, what about taxes? And I say, what about taxes? Because a person that already has money, they're not going to care about collecting 20, 30, 40, $50 million a month for the next 20 years or whatever it is. They'll just say, hell, cool. I'll deal with the tax complications later if I have to at all, because those guys, they can find the loopholes through anything, or the IRS will let them skate. Either way. So I was just laughing. I said, okay, so if this thing goes up to 2 billion, then there is a billionaire just for giggles and grins is going to buy up every number and say, thank you very much. I mean, I'm going to spend 510 and possibly get a 2 billion, 1.4 billion, 1.3 billion back. This is craziness. Craziness. All right. If anybody knows any billionaires and they do this, you better be sending me a little Christmas stocking gift. Just saying. All right. But the numbers don't lie. That's why I always like numbers. All right. Happy holiday from Mr. Light, Brian P, Roland, MDA. It'll be a huge war before the US allow the dollar to crash. It's why they're trying tariffs now before it escalates. They won't. No, man. I don't see how the war situation happens. You know why? Russia. First of all, who are people afraid of in the world? First, the USA, then China, then Russia. Those are the three. Then North Korea. Then you go to the Middle East, and guess whose side Israel's going to be on? USA, which, whatever. But then everybody else, the minor guys where all the terrorists come from, they have a lot of money and they do terrorist things. I'm just saying. But I don't see the advantage of a war because there's a lot of reasons. America's energy grid. See, all this movement that we're talking about to crypto, the energy grid in America is not that good. So all they have to do is knock out the energy grid. Now you have no access to your electronics unless you got generators. And even then, your cell phone towers go down. Then you have no access for communications. I mean, this is like easy work when you really look at it. It's like a facade that is fake. You might have the best weapons on the planet, but if other countries are against you attacking America, you're going to be vulnerable on all kind of fronts in reality. That's why nobody's scared of American reality. They're just scared because the other countries, the EU and the allies, United Nations, they can't go against NATO and all that combined until some of those other countries want to be on their side. And that's when things start getting crazy. So when you talk tariffs, and then we have a guy right now who wants to ruffle our allies' feathers, and then talk about USA wants to disband NATO or disband UN. We don't want to be a part. All of a sudden, you're giving up all the reasons why one side is together. This is we're on the teeter tot potentially, not right now, but this is why I have the 1 year, 1 month, 1 year and 2 weeks situation that you guys need to understand. Get your acts together, ladies and gentlemen, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. And we have people out here who's willing to put America in harm's way. We have a regime right now that's going to be around potentially 3 years, and they don't mind having fights with our allies. Our allies could easily just be like, you know what, man, why are we dealing with this? What are we doing here? We don't have to. In fact, we don't even have to deal with them. That's only 300 million people. The rest of the world's 8 billion. Why? I mean, this is where this goes. All right. Brian P. And by the way, the United States is broke. So we can't. So we have a military power. $1 trillion a year goes to this. We're broke. We don't have $1 trillion. So it's a deficit. So all of us, and we have a $1 trillion that we owe in interest only because we're printing money. So all of our mighty military equipment goes around the world is going to be stretched. And now there's no production facilities like World War II that is going to be able to produce these $1 billion planes, $1 billion boats, and we're broke. And now all of a sudden they say, well, you know what? We're not going to use the US dollar. Now our currency is devalued. We don't accept your currency. Now you're going to have a problem. And you're going to have a big problem when China says, oh, yeah, those parts you need for your stuff, not coming. And who knows what our allies are going to do. Mexico might evenly say, you know what? We ain't making that stuff for you either. I mean, so again, it's if you start doing a war strategy, you can easily figure out what to do to the United States in the long run. And that's what China and the rest of the enemy list, that's what they're waiting for. They're just biding their time. It's just a matter of minutes. All right, let's go. Brian P says we are making money in here. You're damn right. BRICS also's got internal problems because India and other countries don't want the one. I know. But here's the thing. I don't know when it would happen, but I believe that the only natural succession is the yuan has to be world currency. And basically, China does exactly what the United States has done. They're printing money. They're doing the same playbook financially as the US. And since the rest of the world agrees with it and rocks with it, they're just going to do the same thing. They're not going to do any different. So, but they're the only other nation besides the US that has the GDP, has the assets and everything. I mean, that's why there's a problem. They may not want the yuan, but they can come up with their own currency then. US still have the best military equipment by far. Our Navy ships are like little towns floating in the sea. I know China and India been having a quiet fight on the border. Yeah, but that ain't nothing. Like I said, that's going to be worked out. Because the only reason you're going to have any conflict is just like the US rolling down to Venezuela having a conflict. For what? To do what? It doesn't make any sense. And it's not drugs because they're not the ones with the fentanyl. But the point is, so what? Eventually, when what do they say? An enemy of my enemy is my friend. So, I mean, uh, like right now, Ukraine's supposed to be our ally, our friend, but they're not protecting. USA's not out there gung ho protecting them from Russia, who's supposedly our enemy. I mean, so again, you don't know what side our government really is on, do you? I don't. I'm just saying it's definitive that anything in the Middle East they're against, right? Obvious. Well, is it really? Because Qatar gives us a plane. Now they have a base in our country. So I guess the terrorist organization have. I guess it's good. So all I'm trying to say is I don't. Who are our enemies and who are our friends? We don't even know. People that attacked us now are have a base in our country, like our friends. uh, People who attack our allies, we care about who we are supposedly against, who attacked our allies. We care about the person that attacked our allies more than we do about the allies that were attacked. I mean, I don't, I don't know. To me, it's a problem. And that uncertainty is around the world. So the rest of the world is sitting there watching, like, what the hell is the United States doing? They're talking bad about NATO, talking bad about the United Nations. They're the ones that started this. Now all of a sudden they don't give a damn. They're voting against other countries for democracy. And I'm just like, holy smokes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You should check your mail. I'm not, you should check out what the United States does on the world stage that our government does not show what they're voting against at the United Nations. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's like we're the rogue nation. How would you like to have be one of two votes against something that 98 out of 100 other members have voted yes a certain way for, and you vote against the other? That's insanity. That's what the United States has been doing under this regime. All right, just think about it. So when you say that we do have the best military equipment at a cost, and that cost is we don't have the money to replace it nor create it, the production capacity. We don't even make all of the parts in the USA. So all this stuff that people just dismiss, like, and all this stuff about we're going to have stuff made in America, forget about it. You can't do it because no, they don't want to pay people livable wages in America. Nobody's showing up to work if they have to work for $30 an hour and can't pay their bills. They're not showing up or taking it seriously. They have nothing to lose. So now, what are you going to do? $1 billion plane is going to be freaking $2 billion now when you don't even have any money? Not going to work. My point, replacing the dollar wouldn't be easy. It would take a lot. So I will always bet on the US until otherwise. Yes, I know MDA0214. You're right. The one thing that America did do And the reason why you have that point of view is because that SWIFT system is a USA thing. No other country can duplicate the SWIFT system instantly or in 5 years or 10 years. So if they're cut off, that means the money transportations internationally dry up. Even though America could be, well, we don't want isolationism because that turns into an implosion. But the fact is, if the United States stands alone and the SWIFT system goes down, then the other countries just create their own system. But it's going to take them time. That is the one of the reasons why the United States gets to do what they're doing for so long, because the rest of the world, they have to have the United States, well, up until recently they had to have United States citizens that pay for goods and services well above what it is in cost in their country, except for the EU, of course. But I mean, but that's what we're dealing with out here. We're on a very slippery slope, and unfortunately there's a lot of actors that are tired of you, just like right now, going down to Venezuela and confiscating people's, blowing up boats. We're not at war, acting like terrorists. Well, that is terrorism, actually. Um, and that is crazy. Confiscating two boats now in another country's, off the other country's shores, international waters. That's piracy, even under UN charters and all. I mean, are we even in the UN anymore? Do we even have treaty agreement? I mean, we don't have nothing. Anything we signed is worthless. The rest of the world is taking notes. They're just like, these dudes were bold before, but now they don't even care about any agreement that we have. Zero. Just saying. So this is like, when U.S. Uh, had the missile crisis with Cuba, because Russia was like, you know what, you got missiles pointing at us in the EU zone, then we want something pointing at you near your borders, 90 miles away. And they had every right, just like we have no right to be going down blowing up boats off the coast of Venezuela, and we don't have no right to confiscate boats off the coast of Venezuela that has oil in it. That's piracy and terrorism, straight up. So that's a problem. That's a problem. Trump turns government into a giant debt collector with threat to garnish wages on millions of Americans on in default on student loans. Yes, I posted some of this today. I know, man. They're going to garnish wages in 2026 for people that have outstanding college debt. Yeah, a travesty. Exactly. It's a travesty. There's a bunch of bad news. I couldn't even get on it. I couldn't even get on it. A bunch. But it's Christmas Eve. We can't get into it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up because we went on a sour note. Because, again, this is why you have to make sure that every week is Christmas week, because you don't know what the future is going to hold, but you're going to have to protect yourself. All right? You and your loved ones. You have to protect yourself. Take the time and protect yourself. Make sure you have outside banking. Okay? Simple as that. Outside the United States banking, real estate or business or LLC outside of the United States. That's just bare minimums. Okay? At least you'll be able to do something outside the US if you can't do it inside the US. And again, I've said this before. Santa goes all over the world. You should be going all over the world. All right? No borders. It's that simple, because your passport can be turned off at any time. And because they're doing facial recognition now, by the way, speaking of bad news, facial recognition and or DNA for non-citizens when they enter and exit America. I'm just going to say something. They start with non-citizens, then you're next. US citizens. Just saying. There's not going to be a delineation between US citizen and non-US citizen. Just like right now, ICE is not good. They're not going, oh, you're a US citizen, I better let you go. No, they're collecting some US citizens and putting them into deportation centers, concentration camps, and they're American citizens. And oh, by the way, no due process, and their family members don't even know where they are. American citizens, you immigrants. See, my friends used to be going, why you call me an immigrant? Well, because you are. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, because the US is going to treat you like an immigrant sooner or later. You're going for all of these things the United States is doing, but you're the immigrant too. You don't really. So this is what's happened. Now we have USA citizens in concentration camps where nowhere to be found and their family can't find them and getting no answers where their family member is. And telling people their social security card is fake, their real ID card is fake, we don't care. And you're 16 and 15 and 10, we don't care, we're deporting you. You're a US citizen, so what? Again, those in power can abuse power, and they often do to stay in power. Just keep that in mind. All right, let's go. Okay, Brian P., insurance giant Affleck says hackers stole personal and health data of 22.6 million people. No shocker. No shocker. No shocker whatsoever. This is exactly right. This is what Doge did. Doge went in to get everybody's information. That's all this was. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you have to understand your government works against you. When they have fully went rogue and they have people that are able to get your information, forget the hackers. Doge actually went in and got everybody's information. Social security information, tax information, your numbers, all of it is now in the hands of hackers, Russia, China, Israel, who knows? To do what? I don't know. But you know what? Wife just had her stuff hacked today. Apparently, somehow, at a point of sale. Bought some plane tickets, Southwest, today in Texas. Not in Texas. Neither one of us is in Texas. Point of sale means they actually would have had to clone the card or have a duplicate somehow. Just saying. Crazy. And you don't know if it's Doge guys, Israel guys, Russian guys, Indian guys, North Korean guys, but it's in America, Southwest Airlines. Again, do you know where you live? Just saying. All right, Merry Christmas, SSN family. That's it. That's a good sign to end it there. We went on the downside. This is why you need to protect yourself. If you want to see the links I left in the chat room to help you out, make sure you go to the live chat. If you're on mobile, you go to comment section, scroll, swipe left to move it over, and it'll ask you, do you want to go to live chat? Press on it, and it'll open up the live chat box so you can get the links to some valuable links I left you. Also, if you need help in 2026 or after Christmas, findhelp.org. Go to findhelp.org. It's nonprofit organizations. Put in your zip code, and they will help you. Some of those nonprofits, they do charge a little fees. Others, it's free. Federal and state funding. So if you need help in 2025 or 2026 or beyond, at least you know findhelp.org. That'll be down below in the description box after this live stream. It's been an hour and 34 minutes. And I want to thank everybody for being here and listening to my rants again, because it's detrimental what's going on out here. And unfortunately, this month is going to be another loss of jobs, layoff wise. There's not going to be that many new jobs because there's going to be new seasonal jobs that pay people non-livable wages. So again, if I have 50% of a population who have a 8-hour job getting paid non-livable wages, does anybody see a mathematical problem? 50%. I don't know the number. I'll have it on Monday or maybe Friday for the Financial Friday Night live stream at 9:10 p.m. But can you imagine 50% of population not getting livable wages, having to work 2 jobs or 3, which is part-time, another job? That's rough. All right, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you get your trust handled. That's right. Irrevocable MDA 0214. We talked about this on Monday. Everybody else, this is what you should start thinking about for 2026. Assets out of your name, put into some other location that financially nobody can trust, nor do they know where it is. Just saying. Because of trust, you don't have to record. But you do have to record real estate when you do if you did a car or anything, you have to register. Obviously, you have to have a register under the trustee's name of the trust, trustee's name and the trust. But that would be traceable, but it's protected against lawsuits as long as you're running it properly. All right. So again, there's going to be scavengers just like now, people looking for lawsuits, trying to get money that they don't deserve, trying to figure out how to get money from people. They're just going to do lawsuits. They don't really care because it's a settlement or whatever. So just keep in mind, protect yourself. I gave you some tools. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I love you guys very much. And please have a safe and happy Christmas. And make sure you pay attention to what's going on out here because there's a lot of moving parts, but you got to put yourself in position to win in the future. All right. In the future is going to be very important because things are going to slow down and continue to slow down. Jobs are going to continue to be lost. That's our livable wage jobs. And there's going to be a pile of people who aren't employed and a pile of people who are employed but not making livable wages. And the markets are going to start shrinking. And unfortunately, there's going to be a whole bunch of people where they need the market to expand that have more livable wage jobs. Unless something changes, which I don't know how that can happen, because manufacturing facilities would have to be open. And I'm not talking about data centers because data centers are bad for you. Your water is going to be tainted. We talked about this the other day. You're going to have PFASs. You're going to have toxic chemicals because they have to use water, and your energy grid is going to melt down and you're going to be paying more energy. So anybody that lives in a data center location, you will notice that your electric bill is increasing a lot. You will eventually have your water drying up and toxic. Good luck. All right. Just keep that in mind. Vernon, California, with your data center. Just saying, don't do it. Make sure you make enough noise to not have a data center because they do not employ 10,000 people. They do not employ 5,000 people. They do not employ 1,000 people. They do not employ 500 people. You're lucky if they're going to employ 100 people after they build this thing. Just saying. It's destruction on a massive scale, and our power grid is lacking, and we have no renewable energy sources to add to the power grid under this regime. So just saying, it's going to get worse, except one thing. The top 10% own 93% of the stock market, and that's not going away. So go to stopstrugglingnow.com and get your Candlestick Bible PDF. There's a link there. There's a link in the chat room. If you're watching this on replay, make sure you go to the top of the chat. I put it in there. All right? It's that simple. We're trying to make the old seas come up. A rising tide lifts all boats. But this one's going to be treacherous for everybody growing up now. And I feel sorry for anybody that has children and they happen to be starting even newborns up until you're about 30 years old, you guys know how hard it is to live out here. If you're over 18 and trying to get in the workforce or trying to go to school, and then somebody's telling you, yeah, it's going to cost you $10,000 per semester. And you're like, wait, isn't there 2 semesters a year? Yeah, $20,000 a year. Wait a minute. I can't pay for that. I'm like 18 years old. Yeah, well, let's see what your parents have. Well, okay, you qualify. You can get a. Oh, wait, we got loans for you. That you are the mark. You're the mark. We got loans for you because we know nobody can pay $20, 20K a year or 15K a year. You're the mark. All right, ladies and gentlemen, unstoppable domains. Exactly. I put that in there up top. Thank you so much, Brian P. Thank you for mentioning that again. Make sure you get yours. They have a special right now. So go over there, get your unstoppable domains. It's a crypto domain that you only pay one time. There's no annual fee. .crypto, .bitcoin wallet, .nft, .x. All of that is a one-time payment, and it's on the blockchain. Once you mint it, you can add a website. Oh my. And guess what? The government can't take it down because they don't own the blockchain. Unlike an ISP that they can, send some paperwork over and say, hey, we want you to turn off their website or turn off their website or turn off their whatever. They're on your ISP. We'll bring some charges upon you. Okay. Yeah, we'll cut them off. We'll stop them. Nope. On blockchain, none of that's going to happen. So that's why you want to get in early because you never know where this goes. If it only costs you $10, $15, $20, you should make that investment because you don't have to pay annually. So what's the problem? All right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I love you very much. Have a happy and safe Christmas day and the day after and tonight. And with all that said, no matter what happens out here, I got to get this comment off. But make sure everybody, keep your head up because it's rough out here. And because sitting idle is not good, keep moving. And with all that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out.